Hello, friends. We are going to try to answer one of the most common support questions that I see, which is when does the laning stage end? It's a very vague time, like we just talked about in the last video. It could be a couple minutes, it could be quite long, and yeah, we know what to do in the lane. We pull, we're there to help our carry out, we harass a bit. But when do we actually stop doing that and move on to other things, playing the rest of the game? I think this answer is actually a bit more straightforward than people imagine. Like, at least for myself, I'm not doing some complicated math like, I've hit 4,000 net worth and this amount of experience. It's, go time. It's not really like that. In fact, it's two questions that I ask myself, really. Will my carry die when I'm in lane? And will my carry die if I leave? Pretty straightforward, but we'll go into a little more complicated stuff first. But let's start with these two questions because I think this is a very good guideline to get going. First, will my carry die even when I'm in the lane? So in a 2v2, we're getting wrecked. We show up in lane, they just kill us or get very close, and we're not able to farm, we're being bullied out. That is usually an indicator that your lane is lost. And it's lost really badly to the fact where you're getting nothing out of lane because you're just dying. And worse than that, you're giving gold to them from getting the kill on you. So in this case, it's over. The carry needs to leave because you're just not getting anything out of it. They need to farm, they need to get their resources, and if you're just dying in lane, then you're not laning, you're just giving gold to the enemy. Sometimes it's not really your fault. Some lanes are just meant to go like this when you have, say, a really weak safe laner and a really strong off lane combo. Then this was kind of expected. And this is why in our Golden XP video, when we talked about benchmarks, if you can identify that this is going to happen, then you should be asking yourself, okay, I know my carry is going to need to go to the jungle because this lane is going to lose. What level do they need to get to the jungle? Let's try to get them to that level as quickly as possible. This is usually a lost lane, like we said, but sometimes it's just how it goes. Now, if the answer is no, so that if you are there, they will not die, then laning is not over. You still have to be there. That should sound obvious because I think it is. Like, once you think about it, if being in the lane keeps your carry alive, then you kind of have to be there so that they're alive so they can farm. And if you leave, they die, so that's no good. So you just kind of have to be here. Laning is not done. Will my carry die if I leave? So this is usually your lane is going better. You're probably on the winning side, but not necessarily. There's some overlap with the last question. But if the answer is yes, my carry dies if I leave, then I have to stay. For example, I think Witch Doctor is a good example of this because of Maledict providing a lot of damage, so that the reality is that people are actually scared of Witch Doctor more than the carry sometimes. So like Drow and Lion may not be as threatening as Drow plus Witch Doctor because the Maledict does that burst damage based on how much health you've lost, and that provides a lot of extra damage to actually get the kills on off lanes. So when you leave the lane, Maledict is not there anymore, and it turns out the offlaners were not scared of Drow, they were scared of you, and specifically they were scared of Maledict. So in those kind of cases, laning's not done yet. You still have to be there because when you leave, they go, hey, we were actually scared of that guy with Maledict. Let's just kill this Drow now because he's not here. That means it's not over. You have to be there. Again, kind of overlaps with the last lane or with the last question, but to me it's a little different. The last one is a question of like how hard you're losing, and this is a question of like we're winning, but do I still need to be here? Am I able to leave yet? Now if the answer is no, my carry will not die if I leave, then it's probably over. But we're going to go into a little bit more nuance on this, where if the carry will not die when you're gone, even if it's like a 2v1, then that means they're usually fairly strong, and that even if they're taking some harass, they should be able to get the last hits they need because they're not at risk of dying. And if they get close, they should just leave, go to the jungle, heal up, and then return. And maybe if you see them getting low, you can return to the lane or something. But it should at least let you know that you have a bit more freedom to start leaving the lane. And once you have that freedom, that kind of symbolizes the end of the laning stage. Laning is very much when you have to be in the safe lane for, let's say, like 90% of your time. sometimes maybe you'll go check runes or something and you'll wander around a little bit, but you're always heading back to safe lane because you always need to be there. Laning is done when that is no longer the case, when you have more freedom. So even if you still have to be in the safe lane like 60% of the time, I would say that's still, we're getting towards the end of laning where you're able to start making plays in other parts of the map with that remainder of your time. So these are very general. Let's go into a bit of math I'm going to be honest, I don't think about this math necessarily when I'm thinking about when it's time for me to leave lane. I just think of these two questions mainly, but the math behind it is something I've thought about and is something that inherently ties to these questions. So let's just go into it and then I think it'll become self-explanatory. Here we are in our trusty Excel sheet. Let's explain what we've got here. So yellow is once again gold, blue is experience, and now I've broken it down into about what you could farm in a minute, or like your theoretical GPM in a minute. So in 1 minute, 2 creep waves would spawn, and I've also factored in the passive gold for all of these. So if they were just in the lane, and they can get every last hit, but that's all they're doing, so they're getting 6 melee creeps and 2 range creeps, then they're getting about 400 gold and about 480 experience, which before they were splitting with you. And so even if you leave the lane and they're not really doing anything new, they're still getting more experience than they were before, and that's why it's generally good to be able to leave the lane when you can. Now, they're not going to double their experience they're getting because you were getting some, but like you were trying to pull and such so that they were getting most of it. So it's not, a double the experience, but they're getting an extra like 100 to 200 experience, which is still pretty good. Now, the next 2 columns, this is peak carry farming for most carries, where they are farming those 2 waves, but they're also farming the hard camp and the small camp next to them every minute. So, you kill a wave, you go farm a camp. Kill a wave, farm the camps. Camps respawn, go back to the lane, go back to the camps, and you just cycle between these 3. It's very efficient. You don't have to move that much. You're just staying in the lane, staying in the camps. For most people, that is ideal. Now let's leave all that behind for a second. Let's come over to these jungle camps. So looking at the Radiant safe lane jungle, this has 1 small camp, 2 medium camps, 2 hard camps, and 1 ancient camp. So this includes the camps that were next to your safe lane that we were looking at over here. And this is everything you could possibly get if you were able to farm all of those camps in a minute, which is a bit impractical at the start of the game, but I'm just going to put it here for reference. This is everything you could get. This is the Radiant offlane jungle, which people will refer to... well, actually, hold on. This is the Dire safe lane jungle, Dire offlane jungle. Now, the offlane jungles represent that little triangle that people like to talk about, where it's like, this is your last bastion of safety, because it kind of is. And I want to point out, notice how it's very similar to the just 2 creep waves of experience. So if you're able to farm that entire offlane jungle, which is only 3 camps, so many people can do it, you'll get about the same amount. Now, I know in the Radiant, this is a little less, but let's be real. In our pub games, the carry is not getting every last hit in the lane. Some are getting denied as well. So, this is the optimal, like, maximum efficiency they could be getting, but it's not happening. So this is lower. Whereas in the jungle, they're not competing with anyone for last hits, usually. And unless someone's walking by, they're getting the experience to themselves. So, really, this is quite similar to what you would get in the lane if you factor in the fact that they would miss some last hits in lane and get some creeps denied from them. Now, the Dire offlane jungle is actually higher, but that's because of the ancient camps there. And the problem with that is that some people can't do ancients too early. Now, some can. We won't go into it that much. It's just one of the differences in the map, right? So, like, you'll notice it's not all the same, and it's because of where the ancient camps are located. Let's get back to our original question, when does the laning stage end, and how is this relevant to answering that question? So look at this creep waves again, right? So let's think about a losing lane first. We're not getting any of this. We're getting like very little. We're getting some experience, but we're losing out on a lot of the gold because we're being bullied and killed out very easily. How many jungle camps would my carry need to farm to equal like what they were getting from the lane? And I spoiled this a bit with the offlane jungle, stuff, it's about 3 camps. So either 2 medium camps and 1 hard camp, or, 1 medium camp and 2 hard camps. It's fairly close. And it is a little bit less than the creep waves, but again, our carry wasn't getting all of those anyways in a good lane, let alone when they're being bullied out. So this is much better than, getting no last hits and just dying in lane. So when our carry can get 3 camps at least in a minute, that could be a time where maybe this is the end of the laning stage, especially in a bad lane. It's like, hey, just go to the jungle. 2 of us in lane are splitting like some denied creeps and no last hits. That's pretty worthless, don't you think? Whereas if the carry goes to the jungle and they're able to do 3 camps on their own, that's much better. That can be something that you aim for, especially that we talked about in that Golden XP video, that setting benchmarks. If you know a lane is going to become really bad, then you're thinking about, okay, what does my carry need to be able to farm at least 3 jungle camps a minute? Anything higher than that is actually good. We're getting more than the lane, and we're starting to approach this amount. Where this amount is a little impractical to get without any lane creeps, but still, we could get, if we're killing 4 jungle camps a minute, that's still better than just lane creeps. So, you're getting somewhere in the game. Now think about this peak efficiency one next. How much are you contributing to that? So this is kind of combining those 2 questions, where if, like, say you're in the lane and they're farming like this, and then you leave, and now they're getting bullied out a bit more, so they're only getting like 300 gold a minute and, whatever XP that relates to, then essentially by being in that lane, the impact on the game you're having is that you are enabling your carry to get an extra 260 gold a minute, something like that. Obviously, you don't need to know the exact amount, but you should have this feeling of like, this is the impact I'm having. I am allowing my carry to get an extra 260 gold a minute. Now, what if instead you leave and they get a little bit of harassed, they're getting a little contested, but really they're still getting like 500 gold and, most of the XP? Then you're impacting the game by being in the lane where it's like, oh, I'm in the lane now. Now they're getting an extra 60 gold. Like, doesn't that seem not so good? So that's the kind of question you want to ask, where it's really about like, what am I contributing to this lane? If they're able to farm at peak efficiency without me, like, what am I contributing? Why am I here? And that's kind of the thing. This is when people are being in the lane too long, where they are in the lane and they see their carry farming well. So they're like, oh, I guess like I'm doing my job. But really, your carry was able to do that on their own, or at least very close to that. Like, say they're getting a couple denied from them. Like, it's still very close to their peak efficiency. So you're not adding that much. Now, what if instead, so let's go with the example where by being in the lane, you were enabled them to get an extra 60 gold. Now, what if instead you went to the off lane, the enemy, your off lane, the enemy safe lane, and you prevent the enemy carry from getting, say, 200 gold because you help bully them from the lane, you chase them out of the jungle or something, whatever, maybe you even kill them. You're preventing them from getting 200 gold in that minute. Isn't that a much better use of your time? Where your carry was at, they're missing out on 60 gold, oh no, but now you've actually subtracted from the enemy, 200 gold. That idea of impact is how we decide when to leave the lane. Now, if in that first scenario where leaving the lane meant your carry dropped down to like 300, then that is a case where, okay, yeah, I went to the off lane and we stopped the carry from getting 200 gold, but my carry just missed out on 260 gold. So shouldn't I have just been with my carry? Probably. This is where you're getting into some of that like finicky stuff of like, who's your carry? Is 260 gold worth more on your carry? Or is 200 gold worth more to the enemy carry? Because it's all relative based on like who they are. Let's not worry about that too much. Just ask yourself in terms of like that relative impact. And again, obviously, you don't need to have these specific numbers. I don't have them. But you're just asking yourself like, what am I contributing? Can my carry do this on their own? Let's go back to that. This is why a lot of times I just ask this second question. Like, when my carry can survive on their own, I'm like, I'm out. I'm pretty confident my carry, at that point, when my carry can survive on their own, they will either be getting, back to the Excel sheet. Oh, wrong one. Okay, here. Back at this Excel sheet, right? If my carry is not dying, then they're probably at least getting the 2 creep waves. maybe they're being really efficient. If they're getting bullied out of this for some reason, then they can maybe go to the jungle and get a similar amount. And in that time, the reason I'm leaving is because I'm telling like myself by my own feeling, I'm saying I can have more impact somewhere else. Instead of guaranteeing my carry can, farm this extra 60 gold, this 200 gold, I am going to enable my offlaner to have, a bit of extra gold while simultaneously detracting gold from my enemy by preventing them from farming. And that will have a higher impact for my team than just helping my carry farm. And this is hard. It is hard to judge your impact on your own. This is where replay analysis can help, or just like experience playing the game. But this is the idea behind when laning is over, because my carry could just go to the jungle. They don't even need to be in lane, and so I can do something else in the game, and I can try to have impact elsewhere. Or my carry is in the lane, but I am not needed there anymore, so it's like, okay, why would I be here? I'll go have impact somewhere else. Yeah, that's kind of it, really. I think we can start looking for examples just to show, like, okay, this is when I judge my carry to be safe. I think that's the hard part for people, is recognizing when their carry will be alive on their own and how, like, what their relative efficiency is. So I'm going to try to do a couple examples of that. Oh, actually, before we do that, I almost forgot. Pop quiz. Get out your pieces of paper. Write it down. What is one more source of gold in the laning stage that I did not cover here? It's not the creep waves, and it's not the jungle camps. All right, turn your papers in. Thank you. If your answer was towers, that is true, but not what I was looking for. Partial credit. If your answer was kills, ding, 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 there we go. It's very hard to put kills into this graph because it's very relative. If the carry is doing well, or if the enemy is doing well, actually both. Like, who is doing well in the game, how much net worth, how much experience, all of that factors into what you get out of a kill. And so it's very difficult to say, like, a kill is worth this much. So the question is, how reliably can you get kills? Are you a really strong lane and the enemy, for some reason, keeps going back to lane? Well, before we said this was the peak efficiency, but actually, if the enemy is just feeding themselves, or you're able to get kills and you're adding on an extra bit of gold, well, that's pretty good. Because not only is that a addition to your carry, but you're subtracting from the enemy by, first, they lose gold upon dying, and then they're dead, so they can't be collecting more resources, which means, like, before they could get this, you're actually subtracting like 400 gold from them if they're dead that whole time, for example. Well, a little less than that because of the passive gold, so like 300 gold, let's say. And to be fair, in the early laning stage, no one's really dead for a minute, but maybe they have to walk to lane, and so they're missing like 2 creep waves. So even though your carry only got 100, you include the negative contribution of the enemy team, and it's like, oh, I just had a like 400 gold swing or something. This can be when you want to stay in lane. So this is what I did not cover before in that question when I said the laning stage is probably over. If your team can get a lot of kills, then it's often worth it to stay in the lane. But it's a big thing. It's like, how likely can we get kills? Is it like, oh, maybe we can get a kill? Well, then just go somewhere else. Do something more reliable. But if you're at the point where it's like, if this guy shows in lane, we kill him, then that can be pretty good to stay there. Especially because there's a big mental victory there, both for your team feeling good about getting kills, and then a negative for the enemy team. It's like, oh, this guy keeps dying. And again, I don't encourage anyone to flame or anything like that. But let's be real, it does happen in pubs. And so if the other enemy team is getting tilted, like one guy is just dying, having a really bad time, and the enemy team, the others are like, why do you keep dying? Like, I don't like that it happens, but it's gonna happen. That's realistic. And so I think that's a big mental victory in terms of getting kills in the game. So oftentimes I say it's just worth it, and I just stay in the lane if I think we can get kills like that. And I think I do have an example of that. So now let's go into examples, and I'll show some of this. First, I have this AM game here. And you'll notice I'm still up in the top lane. And I know I didn't show the beginning, but I've been in this lane like the whole time, pretty much. I barely left, only when I died, stuff like that. Why is that? Well, if we look at kills, we were getting kills. We were getting a lot of kills. Enemy team was dying. So that was one reason to stay. 2, AM, what's his peak farming, right? We just talked about, I'll let it go. His peak farming is farming the lane, farming these camps. And he can't do better than that until he has a Battle Fury. So me staying here to ensure he can keep farming and the fact that we're getting kills is actually the most I can do to help him farm faster. So I wanted to stay up here. Next, offlane didn't need me, right? This was the game where offlane won really well. And you see that we even took their tier 2 tower very early. So really, what would me rotating there do that he obviously could have done on his own or with other people on the team? He was totally fine. So there's nothing for me to do there. And I guess I could come down here. But, like, do you see what's happening? We're getting kills up here. So if that's the best thing I can do to contribute to my AM, who needs me the most right now until he has Battle Fury, like, thinking about that, when is my carry self-sufficient? It's when he has Battle Fury. Now, if it had been different, if like there hadn't been a techies in the game, if we weren't getting kills up here, if my offlane wasn't going as well, then once he was no longer at risk of dying, yeah, I probably would have left and let him stay up here on his own, farming like this area as efficiently as he could. But like if we look at the net worth, their carry's doing okay because he went to the jungle. Our offlaner is way ahead of Pango. I don't know why I was looking so far down. And the fact that the offlane lost meant that they actually went through the reverse of what we did, where Lich and TB, you know, they decided this lane is over, Terrorblade is out, Lich can't stay down here. So Lich actually came up here because that was the end of his laning stage. And that kind of extended my own laning stage, where it's like, oh, there's 3 people up here now, so I need to be here. AM, I think, could have gone down here while Nature's Prophet comes up here. I would have been fine with that, but AM was getting kills, so, like, again, he's not going to farm lane and creeps that well until he has Battle Fury, but he can do at least this peak farming, and if we can get him kills on top of that, that's great. So that's kind of why I was staying up here, and then I still stayed up here because Techies was here, and this goes back to I want AM to actually be down here, which means I need techies to stay up here. Usually you just ignore the techies lane to an extent, but I don't actually want techies to start mining up our jungle and making it difficult for AM to farm if he ever ends up back here. I want to keep this lane pushed out because that way techies is also forced to stay around here dealing with the lane, and he can't like slowly sneak into our jungle, lay a bunch of traps, stuff like that. In terms of objectives as well, this is a future video, really, but the reason I'm still up here, even though I would say now laning is done and see I save this for AM, it's because our next objective is either this tower or this tower. And because I actually want AM to be farming down here, even though he's still up here, like I would like him to start moving down here soon. Even though we just talked about the Battle Fury thing, like I think he could finish it down there after the start we had. And so I would like to have our team play up here and get this tower and kind of kick techies out even further a little bit. And like force him to be down here, which would be nice for us. But you know, at the end of the day, that's that. And so this was a laning stage that went quite long. I would say laning stage is now breaking down. We're at the 15-minute mark, but I would say I was essentially in the safe lane this whole game, or at least up to this point. So in this game, we have still a fairly long laning stage, but not quite as long. Oops, here we go. So you can see we've gotten several kills. We're doing quite well. It was Troll and I versus Clinks and Earthshaker. And then the enemy safe lane was Void and Pudge. And as you might guess, that lost to Quap and Windranger. And that's why people started shifting down here, where because what we've talked about applies to the offlane as well, but also applies to their safe lane, where Pudge decided, you know what, I can't do anything up here. We're losing this lane. I'm going to come down here. They decided, oh, our lane is one. Quap will be okay on her own. So Windranger came down here. That's why, like, we're all down here having a party. And I can't quite leave because Troll's getting there. But for these last couple minutes, you know, he could still die, getting chain stunned out of, you know, he fissures out of fog, then gets hooked. Clinks is doing damage. So I can't leave quite yet. And if Pango rotates down here as well, that's also an issue, mid Pango. And so that's why I didn't really leave yet. There's nothing for me to really accomplish top because they were winning so hard that, like, look, this guy's in the jungle even though the lane's out here because he doesn't know where she is and he'll just die. And we were getting a good amount of kills here. Kunkka was rotating a couple times. Like, we were getting stuff done down here. And if we look at what Troll has, let's actually pull up the net worth as well. So, like, Troll's up here, Void's down here. So, like, really, what would, like, do I really put him down further, or would it be better to help my Troll? Like, let's just keep helping Troll out, because we're already ahead. And she's doing perfectly fine on her own, shutting him down. He's now at phase Wraithband, approaching some of his bigger items. And so he is now reaching the stage where, okay, he has his ultimate, he has a good start. Like, now might be the time I can start to leave this lane. And especially now that we've gotten some wards down, we see like some people. I think this is a bug, actually. I don't know if we see them. Oh, no, we do. So this is when like Wind Ranger and I start moving around, because I've decided, okay, Troll's kind of okay on his own at this point. Where if they, like, we have a decent amount of vision to spot for him, and if he gets gone on, maybe he can ult, get out. I felt like he should be okay on his own. It was time to go take this tower up here. We'll talk about, I already said that, we'll talk about deciding where to actually go in a future video. But at least knowing that it's like, oh, I don't need to be here anymore. For now, you can just take your best guess of where to go. It's usually the off lane. But yeah, we'll go into that in more detail in the future. Let's go find a game with a much shorter laning stage. Just kidding. I want to take a look at this one first real quick. Slark is usually a hero where you can leave early. Like, based on our questions, like, oh, he won't die on his own, we could just leave him here. We were against a Bristleback Bat Rider lane, which I've got to say, most value stick lane I have ever been in my life. But they could kill Slark if he's not careful, but it's really hard, and we've been having a good time. If you look at this stuff, we were like 3-1 essentially. Oh, I also died 3-2, I guess. Something. But we were doing pretty well overall. There was a lot of action happening top. That's why it was hard for me to leave. But now he is 6, so I could leave if I wanted to. This is now us thinking about, okay, maybe it's time to leave. And you know what? Getting kills up here are usually a good time to start rotating. Because he will now have a bit of time while they're dead. And if you can walk somewhere and make something happen and force them to TP, say, mid, then you know they can't go top. Where am I? Let's pull up net worth again real quick. I was debating trying to pull here and then go to get the runes. So again, he's doing well. Same issue where I didn't go down sooner because, like, Beastmaster's doing totally fine on his own, you know? I should have been getting the runes. I don't know what I was doing. I think I was a little distracted. But we're going to head bottom soon. And you'll notice, I didn't say this last time, but you see how I walk? Anytime I leave the safe lane, I'm walking. And if I'm teleporting, it's for a very specific reason. And in fact, that's why we're watching this whole thing. Because if you're looking at the mini-map, which I'm totally doing in-game right now, there we go. I see a fight, and so I TP now. Like, this justifies my teleport. Like, if we go back to our questions on teleporting, like, what do I need to do right now? I gotta fight right now. And do I have anything else to do in the next 90 seconds? This is kind of what I need to do. I need to be making space down here. I was trying to walk down here anyways, and I was just pushing mid because no one was there yet. Now I can't help Slark, so he should be, you know, I should give him a warning or something, like, hey, be a little careful. I can't have my TP. But, like, I needed to be here to fight this. And that's why I teleport. Whereas I walked from top to mid, and I had been planning to walk from mid to bottom. But something happened, so I TP'd then. So again, this was kind of a about 10-minute laning stage, but I'm okay, for sure I'm going to go find a shorter laning stage now. I played this game yesterday. Actually, I played like 3 of these games yesterday. But anyways, this game is textbook example. I've been using Naga as a good example of, like, oh, get her to like 4 or 5, and then you can leave the lane, whether you're winning or losing. So this is a winning lane where we're going to get her to 5 really quickly. Now, I've been in lane up to this point because, you know, why wouldn't I be? I need Naga to have a good start. She's a big part of winning this game for me. I don't know why I tried this. I knew the timing wouldn't work. But anyways, part of why I was still up here, like, I was starting to feel, okay, I can start to leave, but runes are coming up, so I'm going to be here. So I decided I'll get runes, and now I'll start to rotate. So here I am, coming top. Take a quick look. So, you know, we didn't get a bunch of kills this time, but Night Stalker and Quap are not the strongest lane. And it might surprise you, like, oh, why would I leave when it's nighttime and it's a Night Stalker? But it's level 4 to her level 5. And I don't think she'll really die. You know, she can dispel the dagger, which I hadn't realized until I saw her do it this game. And then against Night Stalker, like, she's a very tanky hero, and he's not good at dealing with illusions, and she has illusions. If we look at net worth, like, she's doing great. He's not doing too bad either. And that's why I'm thinking it's about time to go, you know, she has hit the point where if we think back to that Excel sheet, like, she can now farm a ton of the jungle. So instead of splitting XP with me in the lane, why not just let her, like, handle this herself? She'll either do some peak farming here, or she'll rotate to the jungle when she needs to and farm even faster there. Like, I am not really needed in this lane anymore. Let's go slow down Lycan or mid. I kind of wanted to go on this, but this guy ditched me. I almost died. Just kidding. She totally whiffed her stun. I have no idea what she was doing. I don't think she was playing very well. This game was a huge stomp. And so now I'm bottom. Why am I bottom this time? Well, we did just leave her top. Skywrath is actually going up there, which I... Or no, did she die? I can't remember. No, I don't know why she's TPing. Oh, she's just being efficient because there's a bunch of creeps there. So that's actually exactly what I was saying, right? Where I'll go farm jungle, be more efficient. Okay, creeps are here. Time to go get these two and, like, do this in crazy efficient farming. And now I'm going to come down here. See, I don't think Skywrath should have come up here. I think he should have stayed down here because now it's time to get kills. This guy's doing great. He will provide all the damage. I'm just here to get some slows. That's what I think Skywrath should have been down here for as well. But, like, Beastmaster was not... Like, in the game before this, where we had a Nature's Prophet take both towers on the bottom on his own. Beastmaster's a hero that could do that, but if he hasn't done it already, like, why not go help him and get that even sooner? He's a very strong hero to fight with right now. Whereas the game before that, we had a Queen of Pain who was dominating this lane on her own. She was, like, massively ahead. But here we'll see it's still pretty close because this is just he's good at farming. And so being down here to start taking more map control and shut that out, because Naga is absolutely fine on her own, or she's up here, sorry, where I thought Naga was totally fine on her own. I felt like I should be down here. Let's force them to keep playing bottom. And you'll notice there's 3 heroes down here. So they brought 3 heroes here. Who is going to stop Naga from farming? No one. That's usually why it's good to rotate down here like this. Because you draw pressure into the enemy lane, or in the enemy safe lane. And we're never going to catch that guy. We look mid. Thinking about doing that. But then we decide, okay, let's just go bottom again. Because laning is done. Laning finished at 5 minutes for me. A little bit before that. As soon as Naga hit 4 to 5, I was like, it's probably about time for me to go. I'm not here. I'm not needed here anymore. This time we have a Riki lane, where I'm at the point Riki could probably be left on his own at this point, but he doesn't farm that well. Riki is not a hero that can go to the jungle, at least not until he has a lot of items, because the way backstab works, and cloak and dagger, and I guess is what it's called really, is all the jungle creeps face him when he tries to farm him, so he just can't do it efficiently. So he likes to stay in lane and likes to look for kills, and that's why even though he is a hero that I could have left alone at this point, he's very safe this game. I stayed top for a long time to try to get kills with him, and we were getting kills this game. Who am I watching right now? Oh, I should be watching me. Where, like, these kind of kills, like, I was dying here, but Riki is getting kills. Like, this is how strong he is. You might think he's in trouble. Surprise for you. He's going to be doing great. We look at net worth. He's doing fantastic. I could go slow down Jug a bit. And in fact, that is what I want to start heading to, because this difference is not that much. And so I want to start looking to pressure top. But if he needs me, I want to be available. And so that's why I just died, and I decided, you know what? I don't have to run bottom. He'll be okay farming on his own. I can TP there later. I should be walking at this point already. That's my mistake. I was thinking about what to do. Well, actually, I was really hyped about that triple kill he got, and that distracted me. This is why you'll notice me walk top, because it's time to make plays happen somewhere else on the map. Time to, like, Slardar is strong, but he needs a little bit of help killing Jug. So it's like, okay, if all of us are here, we can definitely do something. And Riki will be okay on his own. Like, how does he die? I don't even know. And if he needs me, this is why I walked, so I could teleport bottom. Look, by the time I got here, 1050. It's like just in time to do something. If we go back, oops, I went too far. I respawn here in a couple seconds. If I TP'd top right now, like if I decided, okay, top is where I want to be, this is technically more of a teleport video, but I think it's worth pointing out here because it's part of when you rotate out. Like, what would I have done right now if I had TP'd top? Is anything happening? No. Nothing's happening. In fact, does anything happen this whole time I'm walking? Yeah, they go on him a little bit, but I'm almost here at that point, and if I had started walking sooner, I'd even have made it on time for all of this. In fact, I do make it on time. We end up winning this fight. So I want that to point out the importance of walking to the lanes. Like, even when the laning stage is over, you have to walk to where you need to be so that you can be ready to rotate back bottom when your safe laner needs you. He's still our priority. You know, the reason I'm comfortable leaving is because I know he'll be okay. He won't die on his own. He'll be farming okay. But if a lot of people rotate to his lane because they see us all top, he's not going to be able to farm okay. And then I need to go and rectify that. I need to be able to show up bottom and it's like, hey, when we're all here, we can get kills again. You're good, buddy. But if I TP top, I would not be able to come bottom and do anything. Now, I've used up all my mana, so I can't. But, you know, in theory, it's available. I can TP and have no mana to do anything. Like, I think this is a mistake. Like, what is he doing bottom? Let's take this time to flame this random person. Like, like, what is he doing down here for Riki? Riki's farming totally fine on his own. Now, I think they did want to, like, go look for kills, maybe. This guy was trying to play really aggressive. But I think we should be playing aggressive top to draw people up here. Oh, they did have a ward. I knew it. I died over here, as you just saw. And then I thought he had a ward closer, and so I dewarded here. It's because it expired. Nuts. That's why it's good to replay your game, so you can see like where they warded and stuff. Let that shift your... I thought maybe they had a ward up here or down here, so I think I put my sentry here. Which I think should have gotten this. No, would have missed. Yeah, so see, they are able to get kills by diving. So I guess it's okay that he TP down here, but I do feel like we should be playing top, letting Riki be on his own at this point so we can farm up. But then again, Riki needs kills. Ah, it's hard. I don't know. That's why it's complicated. It's so hard to tell. I think as the hard support, though, it's the correct decision to walk, and especially because he saw nothing happened. And, like, even he could have walked. He's really fast. He could have, like, Zquixotix'd all the way bottom. Raindrops would cover some of his mana cost. He could have a clarity. And then I think he could still get this kill, and he would still have his teleport to assist. But anyways, yeah. Let me see if I have one more replay. If not, that might be the end. I think this will be the last one here. So this laning was going okay. Now if we look at the Jug's gonna be real loud, so we'll play this out first. It's like okay. I wouldn't say either side lane is like crushing it. Top is going pretty well though for us. But our mid was really struggling this game. Even though I die here, Jug's gonna get this kill. And so now it's about time for me to decide, am I gonna be here any longer or not? These are the times where it's like when you're dead and you could return to lane or go somewhere else. This is a good time to decide, like, is laning over? Or like in the last one, I think you saw me leave when it was, or whichever the 5-minute one with Naga, it was like, okay, bounty runes are up. Now it's a good time for me to move. Support movement. Like, this isn't so much about when laning is over, but support movement is very much about trying to make use of other timings that are going on as well. So I left top lane. I could have left a little sooner, sure, but bounty runes were about to come up. So it's like, okay, I'll do this half pull to deny some creeps from the enemy, go grab the runes, and then like all that combined at the same time, as opposed to doing one, then the other, and taking up more time. So when you're dead, this is a good time to decide, because they don't know where you're going to go. You could walk to any lane and save your teleport, or you could teleport somewhere if needed and like pull up a gank real quick. So this is a good time to decide, like, is laning over? Is it time for me to move? Jug just hit 6. We got a kill. And 6 usually makes Jug very safe. It makes him a kill threat on his own. So now he doesn't necessarily need me here. And like Tusk and Legion, they can kill him if they get the jump on him. And he's a little low right now, but he should be able to heal up soon enough. And so that's what I'm looking around right now. Because I'm like, he can probably be okay on his own, but our mid is really struggling, so maybe I need to be doing something for him. Speed this up. What am I doing? I could have TB'd mid, but I figured my mid was going to do that, so it's like, okay, I'll just walk. I was going to buy Windlace, and I forgot it was 250. So what I'm trying to do now is try to set up the scenario for Jug to be safe. Where, like I just said, I don't think Legion and Tusk can kill him unless they get the jump on him. So I want to go place a ward somewhere here to spot Tusk, who's been running back and forth, trying to gank mid and stuff. And like right now we see him. I wanted to ward here, but then I decided, you know what, this is dumb because Tusk is here and he'll see me and then he'll de-ward this. And that's why I was like, maybe I should head bottom again here. But because Tusk kind of reveals himself here, I decide, okay, it's kind of okay. I'm just going to go mid because I don't want this tower to fall. And I want to get the XP here. And once this tower falls, Leshrac will start moving around more. That's why I was kind of here. I don't know why he's here. Like, I don't think this was a good teleport. And now he's here. Like, we can't do anything here. Now I want to go ward, I think. It's very unfortunate timing. I think I was going to get that ward off. But actually, the way Tusk was running, I guess I wasn't. Oh, they had a ward here. Yeah, I should have known. So even though I die here, though, the idea was that if I get a ward in this area, it will make Jug safe. And then if he's safe, like via the vision from this ward, now I can go to other lanes and do things. And so like the laning stage was done, but I still don't want to leave him in a state of vulnerability, right? So I wanted to get one more ward up. And you know what, out of curiosity, what do I do when I'm up? I just decide I'm going top. Oh, and he died anyways. I just felt like, okay, we'll take the risk. Like, I just died. Walking out here and then going top again is like kind of a lot. Let's just go top and try to force people up here. I think that was my mindset. I think we're gonna get this kill. Yeah. That was really close though. But yeah, I think that's it for this video. Hopefully that helped answer your questions on laning. And you know what? We'll pull this up again. Oh, not this one. This one. This is really all I ask myself. Can my carry die? Yes, I gotta stay. No, I'm out. For the most part, of course. I try to consider like how well they can farm on their own. But like you saw here, I saw Jug be 6 and I was like, okay, he's a threat on his own and he's pretty safe. He should be good. It's time for me to go do something else. That is my general rule. But then you can think about it a little more. Like, can we get kills? Can we, like, is there actually anything for me to do elsewhere on the map? Or is it, like, worth my time to stay here? Think about that. This question of, will my carry die? That, to me, does say, like, okay, laning is kind of over. But I can still choose to play bottom. And to me, that's a little different than laning. It's like, I'm choosing to be here. And technically, it's still the laning stage, but it's more like, I don't know. It's just like, it's where I want to play as opposed to like having to play here. So hopefully this helped. As always, let me know if it didn't, and I'll try to answer any questions. But thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next time.